everybody. Thank you for coming. We are going to start this introduction to the president session, in which I hope that we can discover something especially about the person, because we know a lot about about the professional part of him. So, Jozsef Furak was born in Szeg, we will see a city in Hungary. He became a thoracic surgery specialist in 1997. He awarded in 1999 the fellow of European Board of Cardiothoracic Surgery, and now he's the head of the thoracic division of the surgical department at the University Hospital in Szeg, and also associate professor in this university. Szeg is a city in the south of Hungary. It's not so well known as Budapest, because everybody knows Budapest, where it is, and all about his history. But when we are talking about Szeged, I would say that is the best, it's well known to have the most important Hungarian university regarding research. And among these distinguished faculty who was in his walls, we can count on Albert Szeged György, who won the Nobel Prize in 1937, and also on Tibor Radó, who was not only a professor at the University of Ohio and a speaker in Harvard University, but also he was a scientific advisor for the U.S. government during the World War II. So among these important roles, it was where our current president was born. He graduated in the University of Szeged in 1989. He defended his PhD in 2003, and he became an associate professor in 2016. But I want to highlight that it's not only his academic profile, but especially how he developed his skills, or how he improved his skills as thoracic surgeon. It's something that somehow has to be, it is remarkable, because we cannot forget that he was coming from a communist country, which means a lot of limitations. But somehow, and in part due to his chief health, he was able to manage to rotate around those different hospitals where he improved his skills, his knowledge, and he was highly motivated to do some other improvements, as we are going to see. So based on this, he had different lines of research of interest, and I want to highlight especially the line of spontaneous ventilation in thoracic surgery, in which he is one of the masters. But apart from that, he, based on those lines of research, he got a very nice scientific and academic profile. But if there is another characteristic of our current president, is that he was a pioneer. He was a pioneer because after all this traveling, he was the first one introducing the minimal invasive approach in his country, something that awarded him a national health award, as you can see here, he was receiving. So probably for some of you, he is our current president, and he was known because of his ESTS commitment, especially for being the director of the membership committee for many years, but also because he has been representing us along this past year. But if, as he usually, very often, he says he could not done all these things without the support of his team, as we can see in this picture. But who is the person? Who is he? Who is this warm and kind and gentleman surgeon? Well, he is somebody who likes to watch the live through through a camera. So he enjoys very much taking very, very nice and precise pictures. But he is also someone who likes to travel. not only for visiting, but also for visiting friends, and also for making new friends. But also, as we were commenting yesterday in the Fit to Perform session, he knows how to keep in good shape. We can see here him finalizing a half marathon in Budapest not so long ago. But above all, he is devoted to his family. And well, I want to send a long distance greeting to Judith, his wife, who cannot be here today in this very important day for him. This is for a very good reason, but he cannot be here, so I want to send those greetings. So, from my side, I only want to welcome our president, Jozsef Furak.
Thank you very much, Nuria. That was a nice introduction, and I was very excited to see who I am in your mirror and in your size. I was surprised how can you get some kind of very secret photos, but otherwise I found it. So thank you very much. Dear guests, dear members, dear my family. I hope some of my member of my family is here. So as you are familiar, the objective side of my life, I would like to show you how was my feeling in the last year, my presidency year. And because we are in the middle of the revolutionary area, I chose this sentence and this title of my speech, Adapt to Changes, and the learning curves will be never ended. So I have to go back some years because in our small city, it's a tradition to give a serenade to a professor after the final exam or the final semester, and we did the same. We went around, and when we arrived to the anatomy professor, he recognized that in that very enthusiastic moment, only some words can go into our memory, and he just gave us a quote. And this was the message for our life. Assess yourself with global. Of course, at that moment, we didn't realize what does it mean. But as I really understood the meaning of this sentence, I realized that the door to the global is the ESTS for me. It was an easy decision, and I had no chance because my boss in the middle of the picture and one of my colleagues was the founder of the ESTS. So I tried to work in the ESTS, and after my work, with your trust and confidence, I could represent the society in last year. And I visited many conferences. I learned a lot. I enjoyed it very much. And during this meeting, we discussed about many things, many topics, but that was almost the same. What was that? The actual topics in our society and in the thoracic surgical fields is the new technical fields like robotic technology, subglobal resection, new oncological drugs which can change our policy, new concepts in transplantation as we heard before from Shafki Shevchi, sustainability, artificial intelligence, that was a presentation in the Brompton section just before, and finally, but not least, the training. Every time the training was coming up, and the position of the women thoracic surgeons. I was, as you can see, we are in the revolutionary area, in the middle. And I am very proud that the ESTS is the front runner of this field in the changing, and to accomplish our mission in the ESTS, we have to do work together with our young generation. Two generations must work together, the young generation and the seniors one. In our society, there are 10% of the trainees and 90% above, 90% of the seniors. And we have to work together. Two generations with different characters. The young generation belongs to the Y and Z generation, And the seniors belong to the boomer or the X generation. Different character. The young generation is self-centered. The senior generation is a work-centered. The young generation prioritize their life and their family before the work. So two generations must be harmonized, and we have to work together. And it is very interesting to know how is the opinion of the young generation about the thoracic surgery and about the life. The junior doctors, the Society of the European Junior Doctors published their opinion. This is an official publication, and what is the aim of this presentation? The aim to revitalize the healthcare system. It means that we have some trouble, and we are at the corner point when we have to choose a nice and good and acceptable way. So the aim was not a criticism only, but they wanted to help us. Look at the keywords. Look at the keywords. Unfortunately, you can see disappointment, dissatisfaction, work overload, generation shift, resignation from clinical practice, gender bias, cross-border mobility. Very, very heavy words. We have to know it. What is their opinion about the job satisfaction? The work reloaded experiences work overload, lack of flexibility. We have to realize that one. There are training-related experiences and like work balance. In terms of the work-related issues, they mentioned that they have a problem to manage the patient because of the lack of the practice and knowledge, increased bureaucracy, over time continuous need to put out fire, physical and mental exhaustion. This is the opinion of the young doctor, and the stressful atmosphere in the workplace. In the training-related experience, lack of adequate supervisor, lack time of academic activities. They are very strong words. I am very sorry to give it up and bring up, but we have to face to this issue. And they recommended they proposed some recommendation, and I choose two topics. One, to increase the flexibility of the workplace and limiting the working times. Don't forget, this young generation prioritize the family and themselves before the work. The world changed. We have to adapt to this changing. Otherwise, we will lose this young generation from the thoracic field. And the training, they ask for training standardization. Fortunately, we as thoracic surgeons, we are ahead in with this issue, and we have a nice syllabus for that one. But they want to get more qualified training, allocate the system. As we know, almost every change in the history is coming from the young generation. They are very brave, and they want to wake us up. We are in the almost the end of this issue question. They want to wake us up. And I am very sure that almost everybody is agree with them claims. We would be happy to work in a stressful workplace. And we cannot do this one. We cannot push our hand into the sand, because otherwise we will lose the young generation, many of them. They are thinking about to move from the clinical work to change to other part, even to move from the medical service. And if we lose them, unfortunately, there will be a big gap between the need of the thoracic surgeons and between the available surgeons. This is the predicted data from the States. In 2030, there will be a big gap between possibilities and the lack of the surgeries. In 2030, the general surgical procedure and cases will be increased by 70%. 70%. So we have to face in these challenges. We need a collaboration between two generations, between the young, self-centered, and the senior generation who we are work-centered generation, a real collaboration. What is that? We have to understand, we have to know the other's part, knowledge and opinion. We have to understand and we have to accept. We have to discuss, at least discuss about this problem. It must be a real collaboration. But we are taking care of our patients. There are two typical points which can disturb this nice and brilliant theory, what I mentioned. What is the patient? One is the patient, and the other one is the surgical skill. We took the Hippocratic Oath. So our primary work is to keep the patient, handle the patient, do the best practice for them. And one of the most important things that the success is coming later. The success contains 10% talent and 90% hard work. And this rule must understand everybody who is taking care of the patient, junior doctors and senior doctors as well. This was the sentence from a Nobel Prize Hungarian winner of the Nobel Prize. With other words, Schwarzenegger told in the last ESTS meeting, there is no magic pill which give you skill without hard work. Forget it. He was never satisfied with himself. The hard work is a crucial point. And what about the learning curve for the juniors? They begin without any experience. And the learning curves take very long time. And the most important things, what they mention, the frustration, because they have no enough knowledge and no enough practice at the beginning. They are frustrated. The seniors rule, and the seniors must help them to fly above the frustration curve. Quicker, it is much better to go and learn them. From the other side, dear junior doctor, I think you have to sacrifice some time to learn quicker and be familiar in the practice. Otherwise, the frustration will be longer for you. What is the most appropriate in the learning, in the training? The mentorship. The mentorship is not only the training. It's our responsibility to be a good mentor. To choose a mentor, it's for the juniors. To be a good mentor means we have to give the juniors motivation, goal, training, support them, and advise them. We have to lead them. We have to drive them in the life, because our job is very, very difficult and sometimes very different. How is the successful about the mentorship? This is publicated that not every junior has a mentor, and no every junior is satisfied with our mentorship. Dear seniors, we have to see into the mirror. If we don't have the juniors, there will be not success. They will be frustrated, and they will leave our societies, for example, or our job. So we have a crucial role in the mentorship. And yesterday it was published how satisfied the Europeans. You can see we are in a good position, because 3/4 of the in this survey, 3/4 of the members are satisfied the current position and the current situation. We are happy on it, but unfortunately 1/4 is not satisfied. 1/3 of the junior doctor has no mentor. So we have to go forward, and we have to be a good mentor. For a good boss, we have to be the seniors and speaking to the seniors, of course. And maybe the trainee is hundreds, maybe 50s in your career, but you are the first boss of this junior. You have to be the first boss with capital letter. To be the first boss, you have to have humanity, knowledge, practical skill, and moral character. And you have to transfer these characters to the juniors. And at that time, at that position, they will be happy. Even despite the difficulties, they will stay in our department and in our society. Maybe we have to think forward. It's not enough to be a good boss. You have to be a man of a value. It's a great job. It will be a great job and a great responsibility for the senior. Of course, everybody has to have purpose, have to have goal. It's not enough to mentor or juniors at the department. Seniors, doctors responsible for the other seniors over the doctors who are over the training period. But because without goal, without purpose in the life, we are empty. We have to realize. And the responsibility of the boss is to create a very nice, stressless workplace. We have to give them a purpose, to our colleagues, a purpose. Like the Japanese colleagues, look at, they have a single word to solve the problem. It contains, the word means not only the reason to get up morning, but the reason for being and others. We have to have purpose, because if we don't have a purpose, we don't have a goal. The burnout syndrome is coming. Unfortunately, there was a survey, or fortunately, it was published in a very good paper, and almost 100% of the junior doctors is faced to burnout syndrome, smaller or greater or lesser. And 5% of them is facing to suicide idea. It's a tremendous data, I know it. We have to speak about, at least to know and realize that we have to change and adapt to changes and adapt to challenges. And other data about from this article is that one. Almost 3/4 of the women is faced to any discrimination, as you can see, gender, race, pregnancy, and childcare status. It's very strong data. We have to know it. Why? Because the women colleagues sacrificed that career to the family. You can see it is published in the European after the European survey. The gender bias you can see here because of the hard time workplace, and others, they earn less money for the same work, and the acceptability and the presentation is less for the gender. There is a gender bias. We have to manage it. The boss and the leader must think about it, must support the women colleagues, because everybody needs in our service. What about the technical challenges, what I spoke about? We have a lot of them. You can see around in the exhibition area, a lot of challenges, a lot of new things. We have to adapt to the new challenges. The robotic techniques, sublobar resection, new oncological technology, artificial intelligence, and so on. Because our patients are clever. They will look in the internet what is the best option for the disease he or she has, and he will ask you that, do you know this technique or not? We are responsible. As we mentioned, we have a mission and we have to complete it. We have to adapt to the changes and face to the challenges. Do you know who is man, who is sitting in the front of the new computer? I will show. He is Tony Leroux. I am very pretty sure that he will know use this technique in every place, everyday work time. But he is open mind, curious, he is talented, he is open mind for the news. We have to follow this tendency and we have to adapt to the new things. We have to adapt to the new things, to the patient care, because maybe that will be a failure. In a senior generation, to learn the new things take longer time. Maybe your junior will be much better. Don't worry about it, senior colleagues. It brings back into your memory your residency year. You can be happy and don't fail. The failure can be a success in the process. So everybody has to change and everybody has to face to the new things. What about the generation bias? We have a lot of young doctors, fortunately, in our society, about 10%. We have to work together. And at the beginning of your career, your boss is giving the help to you. They promote you, they help you, they encourage you. So you have to accept it. And the time will become when you have to bring back this help. You have to respect it, bring back everything. And if you have any negative sentence and negative feeling toward to your boss, forget it. Don't give it back. Forget it, and in that case, you will be a successful. You have to stand on the shoulder of your boss, because if you stand there, you can see forward. You will be much proficient, you get much knowledge. Accept and stand on your boss' shoulder, not on the head, because if you not accept your boss and stand on the head, it's a revenge not to give the help back. During my career, I was standing on a lot of shoulders. For example, my boss, Trojan, who was a founder of the society, and with my colleague Thomas Szöke, we were working together at that time in Szeged. And after that, as you know, I had to go abroad to develop my knowledge. I had a privilege to see the big icons in the operating room you can see here. Also, I spent only half a year in Toronto, but I respect that this institution was my alma mater. And my colleagues, thanks for them, because when I was traveling in the last year, they was taking care on my patient. Thanks for them, they worked instead of me a lot. And without the help of the board, I couldn't be successful. You can imagine. Thank you very much. I was working with so many brilliant people and absolutely helpful people. I was happy on it. Thank you very much for that one. And and a special thanks to Sue. Without her knowledge, very polite help, I couldn't manage my year in my function in the last year. And I am very sorry that the Sue STS period is over, and I wish her, Sue, the best in your next years. Thank you very much for your help. And my family was supporting me every time during the year, and I thank for them. Of course, I gave them a lot of difficulties. I can accept it, but they were standing with me continuously and permanently, and they were not complaining anything. Thank you for them. Maybe they are here. During my presidency year, I attended many meetings. You can see the badges I put on, and it was like a shop. So it was very difficult sometimes, but I learned a lot. Thank you very much once more. It was a great privilege for me to spend this year together with you. Without your trust and confidence, I couldn't be anything. And during this year, I realized that the quote is to assess yourself with global and adapt to changes. Thank you very much for your attention.